Most home invasions are over in under 90 seconds, not because the intruder was a professional, but because the homeowner had no plan. You probably have a lock on your front door, maybe a Ring camera, maybe even a dog, and you genuinely believe that is enough. It is not, because the threat is not a movie villain. It is an opportunist who already knows your routine better than you do. And the gaps he is looking for are not the ones you locked. Subscribe to Disaster Ready HQ right now and never miss what keeps you ahead. Stay for number 7. Most households have this problem and they have no idea. Here is the truth nobody in the home security industry wants you to hear. The entire consumer security market is built around making you feel safe, not making you actually safe. A sticker, a camera, a loud siren, these are deterrents built for a calm, functioning world. In a disrupted one where response times are longer and people are desperate, they are decorations. Real home defense is not a product you buy. It is a system you build, starting with the 7 blind spots most homeowners never even think about. Blind spot 1, your door frame is the real weak point. Most people upgrade their locks and completely ignore the frame those locks are bolted into. A standard residential door frame is softwood. It is held in place by 2 screws. A single determined kick transfers enough force to split it in under 3 seconds, regardless of how expensive your deadbolt is. The fix is a door frame reinforcement kit. It runs between $20 and $40. It replaces your short screws with 3-inch screws that anchor directly into the wall stud. That single upgrade turns a 3-second breach into a sustained, loud, exhausting forced entry that buys you time and draws attention. Start here before you spend $1 on anything else. Blind spot 2, you have no interior fallback position. Most people's plan is to call 911 and wait. That plan assumes a 2 to 5 minute response time. In a grid-disrupted or high-call volume scenario, that number climbs to 20 minutes or more. You need a designated room. 1 interior room, no exterior windows, a solid core door with everything inside it that you need for the next 30 minutes. That means a charged phone, a first aid kit, a way to communicate with others in the house, and if legal in your jurisdiction, whatever you have chosen for self-defense. Designate the room tonight. Tell every person in your household where it is. A plan that only lives in your head is not a plan. Blind spot 3, your exterior lighting works against you. Motion sensor lights feel like security. They are not. They light up the threat for the threat. Unless your cameras or your eyes are already watching that zone, all that light does is help the intruder see what he is doing. Real deterrence comes from eliminating shadows entirely or creating layered illumination that removes every blind corner around your property perimeter. Low wattage pathway lighting on timers. Light sources positioned to eliminate the 2 dead zones most properties share, the side gate and the gap between the garage and the fence line. Walk your property at 10 p.m. tonight. Find the dark corners, that is your answer. Blind spot 4, sliding doors are not doors. They are walls you left unlocked. The locking mechanism on a standard sliding glass door is a latch, not a lock, a latch. It can be defeated with a screwdriver in 4 seconds or simply lifted out of its track from the outside if the track gap is large enough. The fix costs $3. A cut length of wooden dowel or an old broom handle laid in the interior track makes the door physically immovable regardless of whether the latch is engaged or not. This has been the correct answer for 40 years. Most homeowners still do not do it. Blind spot 5, you have no early warning system. A camera tells you what happened. You need something that tells you what is happening right now, before the breach. Gravel pathways are the oldest and most underrated early warning tool available. They cost almost nothing and they are completely passive. You hear footsteps that do not belong. Window and door alarms that emit a loud local tone cost under $10 per unit. You are not trying to call the police. You are trying to wake yourself up, get to your fallback room, and get off the X before the situation becomes a confrontation. Early warning is how you avoid the fight entirely. Blind spot 6, your neighborhood awareness is 0. You do not know your neighbors. You do not know what cars belong on your street. You do not know which houses are empty right now. This is the single most exploitable gap in residential security because it requires no tools to fix and delivers disproportionate returns. Communities where neighbors know each other have statistically lower property crime rates. Not because of surveillance, but because presence is communicated, because anomalies get noticed and reported. Introduce yourself. Learn 2 faces. Know 1 car. That is the baseline. Blind spot 7, you have no plan for being wrong. This is the one most households skip entirely. You've done everything right. You reinforced the frame, you designated the fallback room, you put the dowel in the sliding door, and it still goes wrong. What then? The households that survive worst-case scenarios are the ones who rehearsed for failure, not just for success. Walk through the scenario out loud with every person in your home. Where does each person go? Who calls for help? What is the meeting point outside the house if exit becomes necessary? What is the code word that means everyone moves immediately without question? 15 minutes of that conversation is worth more than $500 of gear you never practiced with. Here's what this all comes down to. Security is not a product. It is a state of readiness that you build deliberately and maintain consistently. Every item on this list costs under $50 or costs nothing at all. The gap is never money. The gap is always awareness and follow-through. The prepared household is not the one with the most gear. It is the one where every person knows exactly what to do before the situation asks them to figure it out under pressure. Comment below and tell me, which of these 7 blind spots did you already have covered and which one caught you completely off guard? I want to know where people actually stand on this. Next video, we are going into what happens when it is not a home invasion. It is a neighborhood-wide emergency, and you are the only house on the block that still has power, food, and water. That one changes the threat picture entirely. Subscribe so you are ready when it drops.